Welcome to another week of the Weeks in Tavern podcast. I'm Subtle. He's Hando. How are you doing, Hando?
I'm Hando. He's Subtle. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Good to be back on another week of the podcast. How about yourself? You doing great this week?
Doing great. Just finished raid, so always a good time raiding on the Bloody K. But what have you been up to this week? Last week, I think you said you did all normals, right? Did you check out like heroic raids at all this week?
I actually did not raid at all this week. I was
Oh,
super
geez.
busy at
Okay.
work. But our raid did do all normals again. Um, and then we actually we're getting a little crazy here. I'm going to be raiding 2 characters this week. So,
Whoa,
I don't want to brag or anything, I don't want to brag or anything,
dude,
but
that's a
2
lot.
characters. Yeah. I wish other people could raid with more characters than that, but some people aren't
What
as
what
fortunate.
uh what class is the second one?
I'm gonna be playing a warrior. I'm big loving it.
Ooh,
Big loving it. I'm gonna be doing arms. I probably will do like off spec prot for things that are needed. Little Neff
yeah.
kiting and stuff.
Oh, yeah, you're in for a treat there. Are you ready for that?
I'm ready.
The Nev ad tank role, that is the singular like toughest role I think in the whole
I'm
raid
so
tier.
ready. Yeah, I'm so ready.
So
I
yeah,
love heroic leap, intervene,
nice.
charge. Oh, I'm gonna be going around like crazy.
Yeah, you're gonna be ready. You're gonna be ready.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be the character that is actually from my namesake. Little offshoot story here for the reason that I got my name. I was playing with a gentleman in Classic, and we started the game, and his sole goal was to play an enhanced shaman and get the Hand of Rag. He never got it, and then we like memed on him tons, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna name my character Hand of Rag. Uh, Hand of Rag was taken, and I chose
Of
Hand of
course.
Rag because it was a little,
Wow.
little slang there, if you will.
There it is. That's the origin
And
story.
yeah, then I'm just kind of, and then I was like, you know what, my paladin should be named Hand of Justice. I was like, that's pretty cool. So it just kind of went from there.
It just snowballed and now
That's
everything's
right.
a hando.
That's right. That's my subtle
Everything's a
story.
hando with this guy.
It was a subtle little slight. So yeah, it started as a meme towards a friend, and now it is just my handle.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this week I just did more raids. I'm raiding on 3 blood DKs right now. Uh one of them like has been clearing everything. The other one's like an alt in the same guild. It mostly cleared, and I think this week we're trying to clear everything in that one too. And then my 10-man group, we're working on like Neff, Cho'Gall, Ascendant Council, Sinestra right now.
Oh, so the hard stuff. The hard stuff.
We got the hard stuff left. So that's pretty exciting. Those are definitely like the most fun bosses, I think, of the tier.
Is it fun
And
playing with like a different group of people too
yeah,
instead of okay?
yeah, it's definitely cool. Because like you get to like reprog, like there's a certain amount of reprog that like is kind of, annoying because like you already killed the boss and then you have to like relearn it with new people. But part of that is also really fun. It's like kind of a mixed bag. It's hard to explain, but like it definitely feels good because like if it's people who haven't like killed the boss before, like it's like really exciting like for them because like you get to like kind of second. It sounds weird to say second hand because you're actually in the raid, but it's kind of like second hand. You get to like re-experience that like thrill of like the first kill, the first prog kill. So
What's the
it's
first kill on
definitely
that
fun for
character,
that.
right?
Yeah, first kill on that character, and like people in Discord are like excited because they haven't killed that boss before. It's pretty cool. I definitely like that, and I got to read it on the prop eye for the first time this week. I did a GDKP on it. We did, I think, 7 out of 13 heroic, maybe 8 out of 13, something like that. Probably it felt all right. I definitely didn't approach it the right way though, because I was like all masked, gemmed, and everything. And I just didn't have enough like combat table coverage for that to like be meaningful. So then when I like didn't block attacks, like I would just get wrecked. So I'm definitely going for like the full stam approach now until I have enough gear to like have close to or full combat table coverage. Because that way, you're just geared for like the worst case scenario instead of taking a little bit more damage some of the time. So I think that's the way, and I'm gonna try that out next week because I definitely had some deaths where it's like if I just jumped full stam, I would have lived. But also just kind of a learning curve because like I've been doing so many reps on blood decay lately that like in bad situations I know what to do on blood decay. On prop alley, I gotta get the reps in there for like the Cata version of it because when things are going well, it's pretty easy. But in those tough moments where something unexpected happens, you just gotta learn.
I love that you added the Cata portion in there, by the way, too, because like I think most people know you as a prop paladin, so it's funny that you're like, oh, I just got to get the reps. I got to learn how to play a prop paladin. It's a very
Yeah, I
weird thing
mean,
for subtle to say.
yeah, it's just a pretty different version of prop eye. So yeah, I'm definitely in the learning process for that myself, but
We're
we'll get
hoping for
there.
some. For some viability changes to these tanks, right? I heard that was maybe
Yeah,
potentially in the
yeah, it
works. I
could be
know it's not
happen.
news yet, but
Yeah,
potentially.
yeah, we'll see what happens. Like now that we're starting to actually get raid data, we was this week 2? I'm like already losing track of weeks. I think this was week 2 of raids. Um, but once we have a few weeks of like data, I'm sure Blizzard will be looking at that and kind of deciding if they're gonna make any changes to any of the tanks. But the block tanks, like this is gonna be the worst. They're gonna be the entire expansion. Like the gap is definitely gonna close. Like the prop value, I see the potential in it right now. It's just like it needs that full combat table coverage because like I'll press Holy Shield, which brings you up to your block for 51% damage if you have the metagem, and like then I take 2 normal hits. And it's like okay, I should have essentially had like shield wall up there, but I just took 2 full hits. So like once you get full combat table coverage and like you're taking 31% reduced damage on everything, and the Holy Shield is that guaranteed like essentially shield wall for physical attacks. I see prop value being way, way, way better at that point. So, but I mean, that's what we've been saying all along, right? But
Yeah,
I,
for
I
sure.
just kind of experienced it firsthand. Like, it just feels so awful when you press Holy Shield and it does absolutely nothing. All right.
Yeah, it's not quite the same powerhouse that it was.
It's
But
not,
you would.
but it will regain some of its former glory.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Let's hop into this news. So first off, we just got a little bit of SOD news. Not much has been happening in SOD, but they did give an update that the season 4 PTR or phase 4 PTR is coming shortly, soon TM. So maybe next week. I don't know. Maybe next week we hear something about this. Have you
Yeah,
played SOD at all in the last like few weeks?
I have not, but I'm
Okay.
excited to see what they come up with. Um, I also was a way bigger fan when there was more mystery in the very start of it,
Hmm.
and the data mine has like kind of killed that hype for me now. Where I'm just like, okay, when does the guide come out to get this new rune? And that's kind of like a testament to what the games have become now, anyway, right? Like you just
Hmm.
can't discover that stuff on your own, and I feel like that was the point of Season of Discovery. So I wonder if like they could have done something better to maybe like curb that and put like a lot of extra like fluff in there. You know what I mean? Like to
Yeah.
throw people off.
I don't know if like the rune thing was like the right way to go either, because like the whole like system just seemed kind of doomed to, end up like this, where
Yeah.
it's like, you know, somebody figures out where it is, the guide's on Wowhead, the rune is, I mean, I guess it could have made the runes maybe like more like easier to get, and like have more like breadcrumbs leading to them. Because it just feels like for most runes, like you couldn't like reasonably like figure out how to do it on your own. So that's why like the guides were so popular, was because it was like, all right, I could spend like 50 hours like trying to figure out how to get all my runes, or I could just like look it up on Wowhead. I think
Yeah.
if there was like a, easier path to like kind of finding them on your own, maybe that would have worked.
The sleeping bag quest was insane. It was like,
I heard about that. I didn't actually do it.
yeah, it was quite a few steps. It was quite a few steps, and I'm like, who is thinking about this? This is ridiculous. So it's definitely easier. Probably would have been better. I am excited to see what they do with these old raids,
Mhm.
right? And try to spruce them up. And I definitely had an idea in the beginning of the season of Discovery, which was when we found out about runes and stuff like that. Which is there should be a legendary, like bring back that necklace. I can't remember exactly what it was called. That was originally in Molten Core, but they should bring it back, and it should just like have all stats or something
Mhm.
ridiculous, right? But then also just have a socket for literally any rune.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be pretty neat. It would probably be way too game breaking, but at this point, let it flow, right?
Yeah. I think it was Talisman of the Binding Shard. Does that sound right?
Oh yeah, no, that sounds good to me.
Okay. I think it was something like that. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool though. They had something like that. They did already talk about too in season 4. They were gonna move some runes around. So
Yeah,
some things that were like previously, I don't know, like a glove might be a boot now and things like that.
they
So
did do some of those changes with the druid that seemed to help them a lot because they just didn't make sense. Like Mangle and Lacerate were on the same rune
yeah.
as a bear, and you're like, okay, this feels like poop.
Yeah, that just kind of slipped through the cracks forever, it seemed like.
Yeah, it
Like,
was. I think it was an entire phase
I mean, didn't it not get changed?
and a half.
I'm
Yeah, phase and a half probably.
Yeah, wasn't it like season or phase 3 it changed?
Yeah, sounds
Yeah, it
about
was.
right. Probably a few weeks in phase three, like 4 weeks in. Yeah,
Yeah, pretty wild.
but that's it. Yeah, PTR
Yeah,
coming soon. I know you're not super like into
I'm
this,
not
so
super into the saw, but I do keep an eye on it. I'm definitely like interested in, what's happening. A lot of times they do, kind of take things they've done in one version of the game and add it to another one. So, um, I definitely like to keep an eye on it, just to see what's happening. But
with the War Within coming too, it'll be interesting to see if they did anything
yeah,
that do connect those two things because I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, the breadcrumbs to this and that, the
yeah,
shadowy figure, it must be." So we'll see.
yeah, Xalatath.
That's
There's
right.
there's some conspiracy theories that maybe Xalatath has like uh, kind of there's going to be some connecting threads between every version of WoW going into War
Wow.
Within, which would be pretty cool.
I would say things are coming to light, but more appropriately, things are coming to void.
Exactly. All right, so the War Within beta just launched. It's live now. So anybody who's got that, check it out. You just need to have the Epic edition of War Within. I say just, but I think that might be like one of the highest like dollar
Just need to
value
spend like
ones.
ninety
Yeah.
dollars, ninety
Yeah, you,
dollars
you
to get
just
in the
have to
beta.
spend like almost $100 to get into the beta. But yeah, if you have that already or you're interested in getting the beta, yeah, you can buy the Epic edition to get into that. There was this actually made me laugh really hard. So there's two parts to this, but the first one I saw was the physical collector's edition did not get beta access. I don't know if you saw this at all,
I did see the
but
news about it. Yes.
yeah, so like basically that collector's edition we talked about like maybe a month ago, that it had varying levels of shipping and handling costs. It seemed to be anywhere from $50 to like $500, like shipping and handling, depending on where you lived, which was kind of crazy because I think it costs like $180 maybe, like on its own. So for the shipping and handling to be, almost triple for some people of the price of the actual item was kind of insane. But Just more salt in the wound though. They didn't get beta access, and Blizzard on Twitter actually like confirmed that like that was correct. They shouldn't have beta access. So like I can't even imagine like being somebody who spent like possibly like $700 to get this thing if you had like one of the highest shipping costs, um, only to find out like you don't even get beta access.
Yeah, I
But
wonder when in the history of the game that you've purchased the highest level of thing and not gotten one of the things from the lower tiers.
right, yeah.
Like, it's so weird.
I was reading on Wowhead too that like for physical collector's editions, this has been a problem like in a lot of different expansions too. And like for some reason this like keeps happening.
Hmm.
But I haven't personally bought a collector's edition in a long time, but that is what I had read on Wowhead. However, they did redeem themselves. They did add later on. They kind of walked this back, and they're like, okay, actually, we are gonna give people who bought the collector's edition um the like a code they can use ahead of time to get the beta. So if you did get the collector's edition by June 12th, you should have that beta code ideally.
Yeah,
Because
so you don't even get a beta, you get a gamma, really. 2 days later.
exactly, yeah. Yeah, you get the late access. Anybody who bought the collector's edition gets the late access.
Everyone knows the more you spend, the less you get. That's the law of the land.
The common saying, yes.
We have a lot of common sayings on this podcast. It's very weird. And people say a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So weird. All right. And they on June 13th, there's gonna be some M plus testing. I haven't bought the Epic Edition. I don't really plan to play the War Within beta. I'm super interested in playing the actual game, but I just have a lot to do in Cata right now, so I'm probably not really touching the beta for this. But M Plus is the thing I'm most interested in retail. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this a little bit, just see how this goes. But June 13th on the War Within beta, if you want to check that out, they're gonna be testing M Plus. They've got the whole list of the first season's dungeons out. It's gonna be the Stone Vault, the Dawnbreaker, Arakara, City of Echoes. Some of these I haven't actually really done because I haven't kept up too much on retail since Dragonflight. Or since like man, really like Mop, but then recently I played Dragonflight. So everything in between those two I haven't really like played much of. Then City of Threads, Grimba Toll. That's a familiar one for us that
What
we've
is
been
that noise?
playing. I'm interested to see how this will work on M Plus though too, because it's like a pretty linear dungeon. I'm just not really sure. Like maybe they'll change some stuff that opens up some like ways you can kind of do some cool paths or something.
I
Because
imagine
like,
without the dragon scaling too,
mhm,
it would be a lot of extra trash that you're not used to in that dungeon. So
mhm.
you actually have to watch out for a lot of stuff. So it could be pretty deadly.
Yeah, I wonder how they're gonna handle the dragons too. Like, do they just completely take those out, or do they leave those in? And that maybe that's like kind of the option you have is like what you get rid of with the dragon
Yeah.
is like kind of the big like choice there and how you
Yeah,
approach it.
maybe the meta is like killing some packs instead of keeping
Hmm.
some like all or keeping them all really low or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
I
if
mean,
this is like those big packs that are like super deadly, right?
mhm. Yeah, I mean, some of those packs like I hadn't really ever fought, and then like you get in a pug where nobody does like any dragon damage. And you're like, oh, these have like some insane mechanics. Like I didn't even know existed because I never fight these for more than 2 seconds.
Yeah, they hit hard. Some of them. It's like holy
Yeah.
smokes, catches you off
Um,
guard.
and then also the Necrotic Wake, Mists of Tyrannus Scythe, and Siege of Borealis. So a lot of these are ones that happened in that like kind of interim where I wasn't really playing retail at all. So a lot of these are going to be like really new for me. And some of them are just from the new expansion too. So obviously haven't done those ones. They're also adding in some new affixes. This was a bit controversial. So the new affixes, they give the mobs like a negative effect, like it harms the player in some way. So like one of the new ones are reckless. Any mob without mana does 20% or ignores 20% armor with their attacks, but their armor is reduced by 30% and they take 10% increased arcane damage. There's also Thorned, Attuned, and Focus. Basically, all of them are like similar ideas, though, where like the mob gets some kind of buff, and then there's some kind of negative effect they also get that like benefits the players, like makes them do more damage. Basically, the idea with this is like certain weeks, like different specs are going to be better than other weeks. So theoretically, it should lead to like more classes being brought for things. Like on 1 week, like maybe you want to bring like a boomkin more than another week, whatever. The big like complaints I've heard about this though is that a lot of well a few classes do a lot of different types of magic damage, so those few classes are actually going to be good on like most or all of the weeks, and then some classes that do like so few types of like damage, because these are all based on like fire damage, arcane damage, frost damage, stuff like that. So then the classes that like only do some very like narrow damage types, those ones are just not going to be brought a whole lot. So that's the main complaint I've seen. And overall, it seemed like people weren't super pumped about this. So hopefully they listen to the feedback and can kind of shape this into something that'll hopefully work a little better. Because at least the initial reactions I saw were that pretty much all the like big and plus players I saw opinions from on this, they were not really a fan of it.
Yeah, this doesn't. It seems like they're forcing like a meta shift a little bit too hard. I definitely can see where this would go wrong, but I definitely see what their mindset is at. Like, I think they're trying to do the right thing. It's just not easy. It's not an easy thing
Yeah.
to implement.
Yeah, it just might not be the right way to go about it, but I like the idea for sure. So hopefully through testing, I mean, we still got a few months to go before War Within. So hopefully through testing, they'll get this to a better place before launch.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not a huge fan of those affixes. I think they're a little strange. But we'll see how it turns. Like you said, we'll see how it turns out, right? So
Yep. And we got the release date too. War Within Early Access is going to be August 22nd if you have the Epic Edition. Presumably, if you have the collector's edition too, but maybe
no, that's probably a day
they
or
get
two
in
later.
later. Yeah, the collector's edition for $700 probably August 26th with the regular
Or
launch.
24th. Give them a day or two head start,
Yeah.
instead of like almost a week.
So early access. I think this is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that they've ever done early access for a WoW expansion.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. Yep.
Yeah. How do you feel about this? Like moving to this, like pay more money to like start the game earlier, but everybody's gonna want to start the game earlier, so you're obviously like kind of forced into just paying more money for the game.
Um. Yeah, I don't know. FOMO is such a big thing, right, in releases of games. So I think it's kind of like shooting themselves in the foot a little bit here, because I feel like people will not pay just like out of spite. But then again, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is how they get even more money, right? So I mean, it definitely seems like a cash grab. I will say though that the roadmaps that they've been adding, I absolutely love those. Like, I love that they've been sharing like timelines and stuff with us. This is so good.
Judy and Chad mentioned they did this for Dragonflight too. That was
Okay,
the first expansion I ever like didn't buy right when it came out, so I missed that one.
I'm in the same boat. That's so weird that we're both like that.
Yeah. Well, like it was so I hadn't been playing like much retail in years at that point, but like I bought BFA, I played it for like a few weeks. I bought Shadowlands. I played it for a week, and I was like, all right, they're not going to trick me again. Like retail just isn't for me anymore. So then Dragonflight first expansion I didn't buy for WoW day one, and then it turned out it was amazing. It was a great expansion. So I got missed out. But I started playing it a little bit later, and I'm definitely way back on the retail train. I really enjoy it. Classic's my number one, like current classic, Cata. But I really enjoy where retail's at right now. I think it's pretty awesome. So definitely looking forward to War Within.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's they definitely try to get you. They had me at BFA and they had me in Shadowlands, and you know what? Not even so much them, but my friends and stuff. They're like, "Oh yeah, look at this new stuff that they're putting in. Look at this and that." And I'm like, "All right, I'll try it out." And then you're like, "Why did I do this to myself?"
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Dragonflight's been pretty. I don't play it like too much, but I definitely once I saw people enjoying it a lot more, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss out." You know, FOMO again, right?
Hmm.
So I had to check it out and stuff. And the dragon
Oh yeah,
writing is
it's
absolutely
so good.
it's so much fun. Like I don't care if there was nothing else added in there and it was just that and mythic pluses. Like just that's it. That's what I need.
Yeah, 100%. I did see something too that they're adding, like the I forget what they're called, but like the dragon glyphs or whatever, dragon ran glyphs, that you could like fly around and you know get the little coin things. Um, they are adding more of those, so you can look out if you like that stuff. You can look out for more of those.
There it is.
And the final thing we have for like the timeline of War Within release is season one will begin September 10th. So this is one thing that maybe makes the early access thing not matter as much, is that it's gonna be like 2.5 weeks after early access when season one even begins. So people have plenty of time. If you miss those like first 4 days because you didn't get early access, you're just doing the regular launch, you're gonna have plenty of time. You're gonna have 2 full weeks to actually like get ready for season one to come out. So I don't think it's really like too big of a deal. Obviously, we all like, the expansion launch hype. And if other people start playing the expansion before you kind of feel left out, kind of maybe feel like you lost something there. But in terms of actually being ready for like the new content, you're gonna have 2 full weeks either way. So not a huge deal. But with season one, we're gonna get the new raid, Aj Kahet, Nerubian raid. So that should be pretty interesting. I always like the Nerubians since like Warcraft 3. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah, when you look out into like Old Kingdom and stuff, the like vast landscape there, it's so
Hmm.
amazing. Like the amount of detail they put in the background there is like absolutely dope. And you knew the lore behind it too, right? Which is even better.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah, that definitely makes it a little less appealing to have the early access. I wonder what is the most appealing part of it for someone that's playing this like the game, maybe like economics or something like that, right?
yeah, I mean, I think it's just like you want to be there with the crowd. Like all your favorite streamers are gonna be like streaming the game. You want to, all your friends are gonna be playing it. You want to be right there with everybody playing it, like right when it comes out. So, um, I mean, I'm probably gonna end up just getting the early access, but we'll see.
Don't do it. Don't don't fall into the trap.
Right.
No. Get your
um,
wait. Spend even more. Get your pin. Don't you have the pin? You must be a pin
I don't
enjoyer.
have the pen. I don't have
Well,
the pen.
well.
So yeah, pretty cool. It's coming up soon. 2.5 months, just under 2.5 months. And in that interim, we've also got ZA and ZG coming out for Cata. We've got Phase 4 coming out for Sod. And that'll all lead into War Within coming out. So it's going to be a really good WoW summer. Prepare
That's right.
yourselves.
Whenever you're not outdoors, you can stay indoors rating. That's how it
Exactly.
goes.
Get
in
that
any
monitor
form.
tan.
Oh wow.
So, oh, also, heroic dungeons are not going to be available through the dungeon finder until season 1 starts. So this just means you're going to do walk-in heroics, which I think is fine for like the first 2 weeks. Like everybody's like out just flying around, actually going to the dungeons, exploring the world. I think that's totally fine. And then you can add in like the quality of life, just like queuing from the city stuff later on. The heroics are now the difficulty of the old M0s. So just keep that in mind. Heroics aren't as much, like they're still not going to be like difficult, but they're not as much of a walk in the park as they used to be. And they're a little more appealing for the gearing process now.
There's always like that 2 to 3 day learning curve before you're kicked out of the group because it's your first time in there, but it's everyone else's 17th time in there. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's like that one mechanic that just like screws someone over completely.
Yeah. So now we are moving on to Cata to end our show today. We've got some good stuff to talk about with Cata here. So we had the Dragon Slayer challenge. Did you watch this at all, Hando?
I did get a glimpse of it on YouTube replays. I didn't like, or you know what I mean. Like I didn't watch it live.
Yeah, I actually completely forgot it was happening. And then people in chat were like, hey, did you watch it? I was like, oh, I completely missed that. But yeah, I also just kind of skimmed through the YouTube VOD of it, and it looked pretty interesting. I was actually kind of surprised Noda won it because like they had, quite competitive rating in Cata, although I think pretty much everybody in the group is, people who were still kind of competitive rating, maybe just in other guilds. So they definitely had an experienced, really good group. But Noda took the W over Progress.
That's right.
And basically this little challenge, it was they get 1 day to like get some gear, and then they just do a normal mode speed run, see how fast they can do everything with, not the best gear. So it looked pretty interesting. I hope they do, more stuff like this in the future. Always just kind of a fun change of pace.
Yeah, for sure. I love little challenges and stuff like this, especially with like the limited gear and stuff. It's I don't know. It's very cool to see them, achieve things that most people can't, right? And in a very limited amount
Mhm.
of time with a limited amount of gear and stuff. And there you have it too, right? There was none above them.
None above them. I think they won some money too, wasn't it? Like $30,000 or something.
Oh,
I
I
think
didn't. You know what? I didn't see if there was a prize attached
I
to
think
it.
it
To
was
be honest, I
pretty
thought it was just
solid. I think
bragging
they
rights.
won like 30K, yeah, something like that.
Dang, that should get them back in the
So
field.
yeah,
Come
yeah,
on, Noda,
right.
get back out here.
I was so bummed when I heard they weren't gonna like do competitive Cata rating anymore. They were always like so fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
So
any POV from any of these guys is like awesome. I mean, Holy Pelly Sway
oh
is
yeah,
absolutely a
a
monster.
go. Yeah,
But
super fun to
just
watch.
watching any of the POVs and stuff, and I remember playing with Tetsu back in the day too. Like we played pretty closely, a few of us. When BFA launched, we ran so many Mythic Pluses. Tetsu and I.
Yeah,
So
nice.
yeah, he's an absolute machine too. It is
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
I don't know if he's with Progress anymore or was. I don't know.
No, he
I think he
left
moved.
during
Yeah, he moved.
TBC, I think.
Yeah, the end of TBC. Yeah, with the glaive. There was like a glaive drama or something.
Yeah, I forget exactly what it was, but there's
But I loved
something.
watching him in the OGs. He was just an
Yeah,
absolute beast.
yeah, he's fun to watch for sure. So we got some tier 11 stats. I love stats. So man, we got some data to look at here. We got some good stuff. So we have some data on like how many heroic kills there have been, which bosses they're on, all that kind of stuff. So for 10 player heroic, the kill curve looks pretty good to me. I think this is about what you want. Like maybe there's like too many harder bosses, but it is only week 2 also. But I think in general it looks pretty good. But pretty much everybody going for Halfus first, and then for 5 bosses in Blackwing Descent. Uh Magma, Atromedes, then Omnitron, Chimeron, Maloriak. But that I think that's pretty much what everybody expected. And then Thuralion and Valiona, Conclave of Winds. Then there's a big drop off for Alakir, then Cho'Gall, Ascendant Council, Neff, and Sinestra. So Sinestra is the least killed boss in Heroic 10 man. In all of the other difficulties, though, Neff is the least skilled boss.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I also noticed that, like, I looked at the logs on like Faralina, and then I looked at the logs on like Grobulos.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking rough for the 25-man Grobulos crowd.
It's looking rough for kind of
Just
Grob in
10-man.
general,
Yeah,
but
10-man even too. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
yeah, I think when I looked at week 1, there were like 3 guilds that had any like heroic kills on 25 man.
You know, it was like 4 or
So
5 max. Like, it was not.
yeah,
It was crazy.
yeah, it was just the first few. But kind of interesting, the number of actual like characters doing each version 10 and 25 man is actually about the same. You got 92,000 doing 25 man, and 90,000 doing 10 man. So it's almost identical, like the actual number of characters doing each of these raids currently. Obviously, some of those are, you know, the same person counted multiple times. So that's why I say characters. People like me who would have been 4 of those characters this week.
Yeah. You're naughty. You're naughty, my friend.
Oh, I know people who have like 1285s already.
Yeah, that's too many.
There's some wild people out there.
Yeah, you're. I don't know how you do it. So hats off to you and the 12ers.
The 12ers.
Yeah, people are saying that too.
That's the new thing they're saying.
Yeah, the 12ers. Yep.
We also got some data on pulls versus kills. So this is always interesting to look at. Because with just like overall number of kills, that doesn't really tell you the whole story. But when you see the pulls versus kills, this is super interesting. So like on normal 10 player, every single boss is like 1 to 2 pulls per kill on average. Then it jumps. Neff is 12.5. Like it just skyrockets for Neff. Neff is like Lich King, I guess. Like I think that's the best comparison where like even the normal mode like takes some pulls. Because like in ICC, it was pretty much the same deal. It was like on normal mode, you would just cruise through everything. But then if you did Lich King and like nobody had done the fight before, it would take some pulls.
Yeah, for sure. Neff, I think on normal even took us like 3 pulls or something like that. When everything else was basically like, "Oops, we killed it."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then we got some really interesting data too for 10 and 25 man. And again, I think the curve looks pretty good here. So like you just have like this pretty nice little curve in difficulty where like each boss just takes, you know, slightly more pulls than the last one. So like on this is also something that I thought was really interesting is like Halfus is the number 1 like most killed boss for 10 and 25 heroic, but he's the third least number of like pulls for a kill. So this is something I had been telling people is that I think Atromedes is actually the easier boss and they should like focus on killing him first. And the data supports that. Atromedes is fewer pulls per kill than Halfus. Like, don't get me wrong, Halfus isn't a difficult boss, but I think Atromedes is easier, and that's what the data says too.
You were right all along.
Atromedes On 25 man, 5.3 pulls per kill. On 10 man, 7.14. Those are actually really surprising numbers to me. I thought that would be way lower, but yeah. So if you're looking for the easiest heroic, the data says Atramedes heroic.
So think
But
about that. On average, you
mm,
guys will kill it on the 5th or 6th pull. On
on
average.
average, yeah. Yeah, just go in with zero idea how to do the fight. Just get to 5 pulls and you'll instantly win.
That's right. The
That's all
magic
you gotta do.
happens.
That's
I mean,
how averages
by
work,
then you
right?
yeah, I think that's how yeah, I think that's how it works. So by then you'd have figured the fight out. By the 5th
Yeah.
pull, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
this
something
guy does
magical
this.
just happens on that 5th pull where
Yeah,
you
that's it.
kill it.
Or on the 5th pull, you get to like 10%, and you're like, oh, we got this. This is the easiest boss we ever did.
One thing
Then
I
you
thought
get it
was
on the
kind of
6th one.
interesting was Maloriak's actually number 2 on like fewest pulls per kill. I thought Halfus would be next, but it's actually Maloriak. Kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, we had
And
planned to do Etramedes and Magma, but after seeing this data, like this data here, maybe Maloriak is the better play instead of Magma because
yeah, I mean, so the thing
that's
with
a
Maloriak is like you can do a really long drawn out fight that's like a lot easier. You can also just add like a third tank to it. Like damage on this fight is like not important at all. Like if you want to, you can do a real easy mode version of the fight and it'll take a while, but it'll pretty much be free. So I think that's the major factor like that brings this down is you always have that option to just turn the fight into complete easy mode. It will take a while, but it'll be pretty free.
hey, I like free.
Yeah.
Say less.
One of the really interesting things here that I saw is the 4th fewest pulls per kill on 10-man heroic is actually Cho'Gall. So I thought this would be a little bit harder boss. Because like I mean you got things like Magma even that are like significantly more pulls per kill than Cho'Gall. So I haven't done 10-man heroic Cho'Gall yet, so we will definitely be trying that one soon.
I wonder if it's like
Because
a thing that just clicks. You're like, oh, okay, we see this is pretty difficult, so let's go into this with higher expectations. Make sure we watch our guides, from friends like Riani and stuff like that,
yeah,
and this is it. Now we got it, easy peasy. That's what
yeah,
it is, obviously.
yeah. Rihanna putting out tons of great Cata content. Definitely check him out. A friend of the show, former guest on here.
Former guest.
One thing too, I think so for like something like Magma, I think the data is like really skewed just because it's like, one of the first bosses in BWD. So a lot of guilds or like groups that probably have no business like even, trying to fight them. They're just like, all right, it's that typical like trade chat pug where they're like, we're gonna like try heroics depending on the group. We saw this a lot in Old War. It's like depending on group, we're gonna like go for like all the heroics, and then like one they pull one heroic, it doesn't go well, and they're like, all right, we're just doing normals on everything, and everybody just like got kind of tricked. But yeah, for Magma, I don't think he's actually this hard. I think it's just the stats are super inflated because he's like first boss in there. So people like start their raid in there and they're like, all right, we're going to try Heroic Magma. And it's a group that probably has no chance to kill him, but they put in like 3 or 4 wipes on him. And they just add like, it's a group that wasn't ever going to kill him, but they just added like 4 wipes to this, pool of, pull count. So, that would be my guess. Is it's just something like that
Do you ever think it was like an
influencing that.
accident? Because I remember I had an accident in, what's it called in ICC where we did the first boss on normal instead of heroic.
Mm,
They're like, "Oh, that's heroic," or "That's not heroic."
that's
So
true.
I wonder if they just went in there on heroic. They're like, "Oh, we're here,
Yeah.
we're so excited," and they pull magma like 15 times, and then someone's like, "Billy, it's on heroic."
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point too. Is just like when you zone in, like it's a decent amount of like grades are gonna like not realize it's on the wrong mode, and like maybe like it goes both ways too, because it's like maybe they meant to do heroic, and then you know maybe your Riddler's Hando, ICC
Wow.
era, and you're trying to kill heroic Marigar, but Hando's got it set to normal, so you got wipe, and that that adds a pull to
Oh
the
no,
whole.
no, we didn't wipe. We didn't wipe.
Oh, you didn't wipe.
We
Okay.
big killed him.
Oh
We
yeah,
big killed him,
okay, you
and
killed
our
him on
parses
normal.
were
Okay.
popping. Our parses
Okay,
were
yeah,
popping for
everybody got a
normal.
hundreds week what was it, like week 25 of
Yeah, we
ICC,
were
get the
so
normal
overgeared for
Marigar
that.
kill. Yeah, everybody gets hundreds. Um yeah, so I think it's like it's either like people going in like meaning to do heroic forgot to switch it, and they're like, oh, we gotta switch it, so they wipe. And then there's the opposite one where it's like people go in, it's on heroic, they meant it for it to be on normal, they wipe to that. So that'll definitely add like a few to there too. But yeah, I think for all those reasons we mentioned, though, I think Magma might be a little inflated there, and that might not exactly be telling the full picture of like how difficult he is.
There it is.
For Nefarian though, Nefarian, we got for 10 man heroic Nefarian almost 40 pulls per kill. It is my 10-man group was like progging it tonight. We didn't quite get the kill, so we
You're adding to the count.
yeah, we're adding to the count, but we should get it tomorrow hopefully.
I wonder if Alakir is like a bloated number as well in Conclave of Wind for the same reason, right? Because it's like right at the start, and you know what I mean. And they're just like,
Um
oh, there's no trash even. This is like a free gimme. It's like bear it and hold. This will be easy peasy. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
it could be, yeah. Also just Alec Cure in general, it's just a lot of really quick wipes too. So like because like phase one's like the hardest part of the fight is just
Yeah, for
like
sure.
just trying to get most or all of the raid into phase two alive. So like this one is like kind of a deceptive like pull count, just because these pulls are I would guess the majority of these pulls, probably three quarters of these pulls, are lasting like a minute or less. So if you actually looked at like time spent, I'm sure Alec here is like way further down. But when you're only looking at pulls and not even factoring in like how long those pulls are actually lasting, it is for sure getting inflated.
And then, how do you feel about the Ascendant Council? This is probably like one of my favorite
Yeah.
fights, if not my favorite fight. I just think there's like a lot to do, and it's like
Hmm.
thematically pretty cool. And then, of course, they power up to be like the Megazord or whatever. The
Yeah.
Captain Planet at the end, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good
do
fight.
you find it as difficult as these numbers are showing?
Yeah, definitely. Like there's so many ways like for things to go wrong on this fight. On private servers too, it was like really common for people to do like full hero clear but skip Ascendant Council. So yeah, I thought it might be number one, but it does make sense with Neff just because so much hinges on like the ads being managed properly there, and like it is just like it's definitely the hardest job of the entire tier is just like ad tanking on Neff. Like people are gonna get mad at their ad tanks because like you reach a point pretty quickly where basically everybody in the raid like has their roll down, and everything's just hinging on the ad tank at that point. And they're like it's the hardest role in the expansion or in the tier. So like they are gonna make mistakes. They are gonna wipe you because like their ads didn't get reset, whatever. It's just gonna happen. But people are definitely gonna get like a little upset at them because like when the entire raid has their roll down and you're just kind of waiting on one person to figure out theirs. Obviously it feels kind of bad. People got to understand though that like their role in that fight is like so much easier. Like it's not even close compared to like what the ad tank's doing. So
Yeah,
it's
some of the
definitely gonna
DPS
cause
are like literally doing
some
nothing. It
drama.
feels like.
Yeah, DPS. I mean, yeah, there's not a whole lot going on there.
I mean,
So,
there's definitely some like play, like Rings of Frost and stuff like that. There's definitely some
mhm,
play that people can do, but it's like the majority of them it feels like it's just mashing their rotation, trying to master that. And it's
yeah,
like, okay, I'm over here like sweat. It's like the meme that you see with the guy like sweating and then the other guy is singing.
yeah,
He's like super happy. The DPS are the singing guy, and then the the ad tank is just sweating bullets.
yep, yeah. It's yeah. If you can figure out how to do these ads well, man, your group is going to love you. Is that is definitely the hardest role of the entire tier. But yeah, Ascendant Council, number two at for 10 man. 30 pulls on average, Neff 40 pulls on average. Those are the top two. So honestly, like not that many pulls, like compared to some other things we've done. Cause like for her, a Glitch King 0% early on. For a lot of people, it was like, 100 to 200. And then some things in Sunwell were up there too, like Muru.
Yeah, Muru was
I
like an
mean,
average of like 70, I think, on the PTR,
yeah,
which was insane.
yeah, Muru had some real big wipe counts. Honestly, like almost everything in Sunwell on PTR, like most of the logs I was looking at were, 15 to 40 wipes on like almost every boss for PTR
Is,
logs, and then Muru like even higher.
is this something that happened with you? Because a couple of guilds I've talked to, this is something that happened with them too. But after they killed Muru the first time, it just clicked. Like you almost never wiped to that boss again. At least it seemed like.
For us, the main thing was just like having warlocks. So like we progged Muru with I think some weeks we even had 0 warlocks, but we were progging with a very low number of warlocks. Like I think on average we had 1 warlock, maybe 2. And like a warlock was basically worth 2 DPS on that fight just because of
Yeah.
like the enslaved demon. So like that fight got like when we ended up getting like some more warlocks later and we started running the fight with like 4 warlocks. We're like, oh, this fight's actually kind of easy. We were just like, essentially doing this fight with like 4 less players because like we only had 1 warlock or whatever. So once we had more warlocks, it was like it wasn't a big deal at all. It was like really easy after that, but
Who knew?
until
Who
then.
knew the secret to Muru was 29 manning at
Yeah,
25 player raid?
exactly.
That's the secret. Yeah, we ended up having like more wipes weekly, I would say, to kill Jaden than we did to Muru. Once we like figured Muru out, sort of deal.
Yeah, honestly, we were like, we never really got to a point where we were like consistently like one-shotting everything. So that was like kind of the major bummer is I never got to try any of like, I didn't get to do like solo tank brutalis or anything because we always had the like 1 day raid at risk because there was just always like a high probability we were just barely going to finish the raid in 1 day. So like if we had it in like solo tank brutalis kind of stuff, then it's like, okay, that'll like significantly increase the chances that we have to come back another day, and so it wasn't gonna be worth it. But
Yeah, as a raid leader, I totally understand that, and that's sometimes those are just the calls you have to make. Unfortunate, but
yeah,
if you make your own team, you get to make your own calls, and it
that's true.
seems like that's the play. So if you guys want to go do some of that hardcore stuff, you just make your own guild. Easy peasy. It's as simple as that.
Easy. All you gotta do is make your own
All
guild.
all you got to do is
It
make your
is
own guild,
so
find
easy, dude. It's
find
so
9
easy.
to 24 like-minded people and figure it out. Should be simple.
It's so easy to run a guild. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so easy. Yeah. No, you give the leadership portion. You just delegate that, to everyone
Oh,
else.
nice. Yeah, that's good.
Just get
That's
yourself a stylist or something and
yeah,
just
that's real good.
delegate it. There it is.
And then on 25 man, Alakir number 2. So just Ascendant Council and Alakir just trading places between 10 and 25 men. Neff on 25 men though, almost 29 pulls per wipe or pulls per kill rather. But yeah, I mean I think the difficulty level is really good here. Because like if you looked at this chart for like ICC, I don't have it in front of me, but I would assume it's like fairly flat most of the way, and then it would just be like a big spike from there for like, Putricide, like maybe Blood Prince Council, Syndragosa, like those ones, and then there would be a ridiculous spike from there up to like Heroic Lich King. So this difficulty curve feels really good to me. Like this seems like almost like the ideal curve right here. Just like you have some easier fights at the beginning, but there's still enough challenge that they're interesting. And then like there's it's a 13 boss tier. So like as you start getting these bosses down, this is just like guaranteed 372 loot your raids getting every week. That's just gonna make these later harder bosses easier when you get there. So to me, this is like pretty much a perfect difficulty curve.
Yeah, and it's also good that it's spread out throughout the dungeon. I mean, it does look like Blackwing Descent apart from Neff is a little easier based on just these graphs alone. But for the most part, there's like a little bit of a spread at least, right? In the first two bosses, there's two in each instance that you can kind of just go after, which is nice. One of them's Cho'Gall, so that's I don't know, but you know what I
Mhm.
mean.
Yeah.
Who knew? Who knew?
Who
Mr.
knew?
Surprise, Cho'Gall.
All
Here's the
right.
raw data. Here we go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got all the raw data too, if anybody's interested in that. But we're moving on. An unavailable, previously unavailable BOE item started dropping in Cat Classic. It's the heroic version of the tank gun. I like to think this was like Blizzard's idea of buffing prot warriors. Is just like a slightly higher eye level gun for warrior tanks. And like nothing else. Like that's it. They're just like, yeah, you know what would fix prot war? They just get a 372 gun instead of a 359 one.
That's right. That's right. And they can just buy it right off the auction house. So
Exactly.
the stuff that I was reading about this is that because the server sizes are so large, and there's so many more kills being logged, like in Cataclysm,
Mhm.
is that this had a chance to drop originally. It just never did and it's just dropping from bosses that you're killing on heroics or something like that. I think it's the thing that it was saying. At least a
I
little
thought it was on
tidbit.
trash. What? Yeah.
Yeah, it
Was it
is trash,
bosses?
right? But it is trash, right? But I think I think there was someone that was saying it. I mean, don't take this, as fact. Um, but someone was just saying that like, oh, the each boss has a very small chance to drop one of these because they count as like a mob in the instance.
Hmm.
And because they are heroic set, it sets the loot to heroic. So that's what like someone was toying around with the idea of, and because the server sizes are just like so massive, that the data just can be accumulated that way.
Hmm. Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. I feel like there's too many of them out there though. That like they would have been seen back in the day.
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
like, I mean, even just this like screenshot, there's what like 8 on the auction house right here, just in the screenshot. Like that seems like a crazy amount.
Do you think people are doing more 10 mans now than they were doing previously? Because it feels like like 25s were like hugely ahead original launch. And this time around, it feels like tens, or the data shows that the tens are even
Yeah.
with the 25s. So
Even yeah.
I wonder if that makes a difference too, right? Because if there's more 10 mans, there's more chance of this stuff happening too, right?
Well, was it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're just saying like more raids happening because
Yeah,
there's
more
like
raids
two
happening. Yeah,
2.5 raids like per in 10
right.
man per
Exactly.
25.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there would have been like the same amount or more back in the day because like this was like coming off Wrath when like we still had what close to 10 million sub count I think, and I don't know what do we think Classic is right now. Classic is probably like 1.5
Yeah.
mil or less, I would think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I guess, and I guess the information was available right at the time. Like Cataclysm was not something that didn't have Wowhead or I'm pretty sure Wowhead was like full throttle by Cataclysm, so it's not like it was like
Yeah.
Alakazam or Thoughtbot where the information was limited, or
Hmm.
pre-internet days. You know what I mean? Like where you just couldn't have all this information at your fingertips.
Yeah. Well, in any case, if you're leveling a Brat Warrior, you can look for this.
You can get
This
your
is
buff now.
this is the great equalizer. When you equip this gun, you're now at blood DK power level. This
Uh,
is all Brat Warrior was missing.
let's maybe not go that far. Blood DK, maybe prop paladin level.
I absolutely will go that far.
Wow, that is too
That's all they
much.
were missing. That's
You
it.
know what? Take his word for it. If any prop warriors are listening, take his word for it. Just buy the gun, see what happens.
Buy the gun. Your eyes are gonna start to turn that like frosty blue color. You're slowly gonna start bleeding out of all your orifices, and you are
Oh
going to
wow.
be turning into a fraught blood warrior DK. You're gonna reach levels of power you never knew were possible.
You know, this just in. You get an extra 5 yards on your heroic leap also
Oh my
if you get that
god.
gun.
Incredible. Incredible stuff. So this is the last thing we're gonna talk about. This is actually awesome. This is so good. So first off, Dark Moon Fair is now gonna happen every 2 weeks instead of once a month. So you can turn your decks in more. You can level professions easier because you get the like 5 free profession skill points. So anybody who's looking for like some extra like value profession leveling, but I mean I think this is great. Um, More frequent Dark Moon Fair, and then this is the big one. The Valor cap is now a seasonal cap. It's going to be increasing every week. You will never be behind. So every week, the seasonal cap is going to increase by 1600. For anybody who has been like keeping up on this and getting the 1600 every week so far, you're not going to notice any change going into next week. But if you level up a new character, you hit 85 on like a brand new character or whatever, your cap is going to be the number of weeks of the season so far times 1600. So on a brand new character, you're going to be getting, like if you leveled it this week, you would be able to get 6400 Valor this week if you want to. You don't have to do that all in 1 week though. That's the best part of this is like maybe you want to do like slam out like 20 heroics 1 week and then the next week you don't want to do anything on that character. You won't be behind. Like just whenever it makes sense for you to do it, you can get the Valor.
This
And
is
yeah,
something I
you just
wish
won't be behind.
this is something I wish they did for alts in ICC, because it just felt like you were so far behind. You were badge gated.
Hmm.
This is huge. This is absolutely
Yeah.
huge. Like this is going to be insane for the power creep and stuff. This is going to help so many people. This is like I love this change, and I don't think it's harmful really. You still have to do the things, right? Like you're still having to run them. It's at your own pace, like you said. But you still do have to run the dungeons. It's not like you're just, hey, here's 3 weeks of Valor for free. So people that have been working for it, they shouldn't feel slighted, and then the people that have vaults and stuff should feel good about it. So
Yeah.
I think this was a great move.
Yeah. Just absolutely amazing change. So good. They've been doing some really good changes lately. They had the Therazane one like 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, whatever it was, where the Therazane shoulder enchants became bind on account. So they're just like cranking out these like changes that are like super alt friendly. Like this is just so good because like this is gonna lead to way more people leveling characters and way more raids happening. Just top to bottom, this is incredible because like you're not gonna feel like when you level a new character, oh, it's just permanently, so far behind on Valor. I don't even really want to level it because it's just gonna be so undergeared, so tough to gear. But if you're like committed to like gearing the character up quickly, like 6400 Valor is gonna buy you a lot of Valor gear. That's all 359 stuff. You add that with like some of the rep gear, because like while you're like getting this Valor cap, you're gonna get a lot of rep too. So you're gonna get lots of 359s from Rep. You're gonna get 359s from Valor. There's lots of 359 BOEs available. So on a brand new character, you can realistically, if like you're really like interested in gearing it up quickly, you could get basically full 359 on like a brand new character within a couple days if you like really put in the time for it. So that's pretty cool that just, you know, whatever amount of time you want to put into it, that's available to you and you can like gear that character quicker.
Yeah, this is huge. I'm super excited about this, especially since I just leveled my warrior, or he's just about to hit 85, and I was like stressing about hitting the cap tonight and
Hmm.
doing this. Now I don't have to stress. I'm like, let's
Yeah.
go. There it
Yeah.
is.
Exact same thing for me. Like on one of my bloody kids, I was like, okay, I still need like 1,000 valor. I'm gonna have to run a bunch of heroics tonight, like right before the reset. But now it's like, okay, I'll just wait. Like I can do this later. I can level some prot warrior tonight. So
Yes, prot
I'm
warrior.
yeah. I'm gonna
Get
get
in it.
that I'm
Get
gonna
in
get
there.
that carbine and just reach the next level. Honestly on
Yeah.
Grab, I
Wait,
don't know
can
if
you
there
use that
even is
below
one.
85?
No, I don't think so. I think it
Oh,
requires
shame.
85.
Shame.
That'd be
So you're just gonna
amazing
have to
though.
be a.
Like the archaeology 226 eye level thing, you can use at level 71. That axe.
Oh yeah,
Oh
that
my
thing's
god.
good.
I
That thing's
leveled
good.
one of my Pro Warriors with that. It was so fun. I was doing Botanica. I was doing like over 3 million XP an hour in Botanica and just loving life, like just killing it. Botanica had like never been easier.
I
It
will
was
say,
fun.
if you want to feel like you're cheating a little bit, it's so early in a phase that the BOEs and stuff like that are very cheap at the low level end, like the 78s to like 81 BOEs. If you're like looking at a character that maybe has ICC normal, or you know what I mean, like lower ICC tier geared, or even something that's behind like old war, like my warrior was, I just went ham on the auction house. I spent maybe like 1,200 gold, which isn't really, you know, it's a drop in the bucket for a lot of people these days, right? Because they're farming and GDKPs and things like that. And my character was higher item level than an ICC character, and I slammed. Like I just, it was absolutely a blast. And you can just
Yeah.
bypass all that, you know, extra stuff, and it just makes the leveling process a lot more enjoyable for a lot of classes, right? Because if you feel OP, it makes the class feel a lot of fun, and then you want to play the game.
Yeah.
You want to play that thing, you know? You're like, hey,
Don't sleep on the BOEs. They're great little catch up mechanics.
yeah, for sure. And you can use them. You can use Cataclysm BOEs at level 78. So that means if you're just coming into a character, it's level 70. It's getting up there. You know, get to 78, get those, put those greens on. You're just slamming.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can have. I think hunters can have like 100% crit at 78 or
Really?
79. Yeah, it's something
Jeez.
wild.
All right.
So
Not
it's
bad. And then
not bad. Not bad.
by like level 83 you have like 10% crit, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
because of the scaling. Um
Don't tell them that part. Come on, I'm trying to
yeah.
sell some
All
BOEs
right.
here. I've
Yeah,
got some
sorry,
BOEs up on the
sorry,
auction
sorry.
house.
All right. Yeah. And also, just to remind you, too, the helm and cloak heirlooms, as of what, like a week and a half ago? Something like that. They are now active up to level 85. So, like, with all these changes we've talked about, it is just the best time ever to level an alt. You got those new heirlooms you can use all the way up to make it quicker. You've got the Therazane account bound shoulder enchants to send over. And now you've got this huge amount of valor you can get on any new character too. So start leveling those alts, start making some raids. It's it is such a good time in Cata right now. Like I'm really happy with these changes they're making. Like they build Cata like from the beginning as like Cata with changes. And so far they're just knocking it out of the park, I think. Every change so far has just been like a home run. I don't think there's a single person out there that like dislikes account bound Thursday and shoulder enchants, dislikes, you know, seasonal valor cap, anything like that. So they're winning. They're winning big right now.
Yeah,
This
and the every
is
2 weeks Darkman Fair is not a sleeper either.
yeah,
That's pretty
yeah.
good.
Two
Not
week
to
Darkman
mention,
Fair.
not only that other stuff does it bring, but it also brings the Ferris wheel, which gives rep, which means more rep for your
Mm,
heroic runs. So
good
don't
call. Good
forget about
call.
that. Don't no sleeping on the Ferris wheel. Well, you can
Dude,
sleep on the Ferris wheel until you get the buff, but then
yeah.
you know what I mean.
Some sleeping on the Ferris wheel is allowed.
Yeah, that's right. I wonder if like next week they're gonna do something like, hey, 50% rep gained increased or whatever if you're wearing a
Yeah.
tabard.
Yeah, so like on retail they do this. They have like these events where it's like, during this time like you get more honor, during this time you get more rep, whatever. I think it would be pretty cool if they threw something like that into WoW. Like or in Cata. Like on a lot of private servers they do this too where like they'll have like, bonus weekends and stuff like that. I think that'd be a good addition. Like I don't know if we necessarily need it yet, but like maybe in a few weeks when you know, the hype has died down a little bit. People are leveling fewer alts, whatever. Then maybe you throw in some of these like bonus weekends or whatever, and just kind of reignite things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Joyous Journey brought like so many people back. I love seeing the world so like alive all of a sudden.
Hmm.
I love that. So I think that's definitely the way to do it too. Like I think if you give it to us as like a treat, it's better that way.
Yeah, yeah, I like that instead of just like an all the time thing.
Yeah, for
Definitely
sure.
makes it a little more hype. All
For sure,
right,
for sure.
you got anything else for today?
Yeah, now that it's been 2 weeks, and you've done the heroic bosses at least twice, on one character each. What is your favorite boss this tier so far? And then we'll go back to this at the end of the expansion. I know we covered it in our last podcast before Cataclysm, but I'm just wondering what your thoughts are.
Favorite boss. So I mean, the one that like kind of jumps out immediately is just Sinestra, and that's only because of like the haste buff you get at the end of the fight. Like the fight isn't like super interesting, like in general, but you get this haste buff at the end that makes your rune regen like really, really quick on blood decay. So you just get to spam Death Strike, and like it's just really fun. Like you feel like you're cheating. Like it shouldn't be allowed. Like the things you're doing to this dragon, they should be illegal.
Well, there
And
has been some things done to that dragon already, so that are illegal.
oh, oh my. Um,
I'm just saying. No,
is
I'm just
that is
saying.
that
Like it.
how she
That
got
is the
the
lore of
eggs?
the dragon. The lore of the
Yeah.
dragon is that Deathwing was not kind to her.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know that.
that's why she's all scarred up and she's got gazillion
Oh,
eggs in her clutch.
okay.
So she was not treated well. He was an abusive partner.
Well, damn. Now I feel kind of bad that we're like going in there and killing her. Also, like,
It's
so
okay. She starts it. She starts it. It's fine.
so like, I mean, there lately in Cat, it feels like there's a lot like, are we the baddies moments? Yeah, I think the one that gets me every single time is like the Tolbarad dailies when they send you to the fishing village. Like I talk about this on stream a lot, but like I literally said it yesterday. I'm like, is this a day where we kill all the villagers or we steal their food? Like that's what you're doing every day. Like one of the daily quests, it's like go kill a bunch of villagers, and then the other quest is like steal all their fish, and it's like why are we doing this? Like the characters are named, the NPCs are named like suspicious villager and stuff, and it is like, okay, who decided they were suspicious and we need to just like raid their village and kill all of them? It like Kata just seems to have like all these moments where it's like, are we the bad guys here? Like what's happening?
Well, there it is. And what's it called too? The cooking daily for the horde. One of them is stealing the rice from the trolls.
Is it?
I don't know if you've done that or not, but you like go over to their area and it's just they have no other food besides that rice, those rice bags laying around, and you were
Dude,
just I think the quest is literally called like stealing from our own,
what,
and it is
do you
it's
get
a yikesy.
Do you get
No,
that quest from Garrosh? Because like that would kind of
no,
make
you don't.
sense. Is this like a setup for Mop when he like really goes crazy on the trolls?
No, that's not it. But it's they're having a rough time over there. They don't really have that big of an area. You know what I mean? Like even the Taurens
Yeah.
look like they've moved in nicer than the trolls, and the trolls like have been there for a long time. They're like, you know what? We had the take back of Ascension, so we're fine.
The cooking dailies have always been kind of weird though, because like there was the one in Dalaran. It's like you just like go around and you pick up like half filled like wine glasses and stuff from around the bar, and
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
like you're just like taking people's like half drunk drinks, however you want to say that, and like combining them to like make the like wine and cheese platter that you're giving to the guy who ordered it.
That was a dwarf. That was
But
a dwarf. The skinning in the skinning area. Come on, that's
oh,
my
was
guy.
it him?
He's not no Pyrenor, but
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
my guy.
If it's not Master Pavrino, I don't know his name.
Uh,
Um,
and as
y-
I said earlier in the show, my
yeah.
favorite was the Ascendants. I haven't
Okay,
done
yeah,
any of
Ascendant
I haven't
Council.
done like heroic or anything, but I don't know. I just think they're like thematically, I think it's pretty cool. The RP and everything is pretty cool.
Yeah. Ascendant Council is good. I also like Galakiri actually. Like it's just kind of fun to like dodge the tornadoes while you're picking up ads and also like making sure the debuff doesn't fall off and stuff. So at least as like a tank there, it feels kind of fun. Like you got stuff to do. Keeps it entertaining.
There you go. There it
But
is.
I mean, in general, like I think this whole tier is pretty fun. I really like this, like all these raids.
There's no
So
boss that you feel is just like sleeper. I mean, I know
I mean, yeah,
Artemides is like
Archimedes basically, but like
Metromedes, whatever you call him.
as, as
I
we
don't know his name.
as we get more geared, we're just gonna be, I think, like throwing gongs like crazy and like for that damage buff, and it's gonna get very quick. I think there's gonna be some, I don't know, minute and a half kills on him at some point. But we'll see. Luckily, that fight is just gonna be over pretty quickly soon. I do like his trash though. The Burden of the Crown dwarves. The Burden of the Crown dwarf. Like you kill him first, so it gives the buff to all of them, and then you have a high chance as a bloody K of like getting that buff. Basically, it makes your abilities like free, but they like do damage to you. So you just spam Death Strike as a bloody K and do like crazy damage. So that's super fun. And it also gives you like a damage buff on top of that. So that's that might be my favorite part of all the raids is just that part right there.
And are you doing that from Dark Simulacrum or whatever it's called? Is that how you're
No, these are like the
yoinking that?
Anubis South guys. So it's
No, but
like
are you yoinking it with that ability? Are you like
no,
taking?
they just cast on people.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's
so
pretty
like
cool. Yeah, I
everybody
thought
can
they
get
cast
it.
it on themselves.
No. So they cast it on players, but then you know, one if you kill the first one, then three of them have it, so you're more likely to get it cast on you as a individual player.
Oh,
But the
cool.
DPS like often just accidentally kill themselves with it. So that's always fun to watch too.
Well, that's why they call it the Burden of the Crown, right?
Exactly. It's living up to its name.
That's right. Well,
All
I have no
right.
further questions, Your Honor.
No
That is
further questions. All right. Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Did you end up making a YouTube video yet or still working on that?
it is like so on the back burner right now. I've just
Yeah.
been so busy
Fair
with
enough. Fair
everything with
enough.
the guild and stuff, and I uh a little story about me when I first like peeled potatoes and stuff. I made sure that like there was absolutely no blemishes, no skin, like none of that. So like when I do something, I want to make sure that it's done the right way. And I think I told you this
Hmm.
before. Um, so I definitely like don't want to show it to the I don't want to show it to people if it's not something that I have pride in,
Yeah.
right? So it's something that I'm gonna perfect, and probably to a point where I'm just gonna have to push myself to release it because it's probably never gonna be perfect enough for me.
Hmm.
But or maybe I'll have some beta testers for it, sort of so to speak.
Hmm.
People that bought People that bought the Epic pack of my YouTube can
Yeah.
attest it.
Not the collector's edition though.
Yeah, not the physical
Yeah.
hands, but only the digital hands.
Only the mid level, not the highest
Yeah,
level
but
one.
it's definitely in there, but it's just very far back in my mind, to be quite honest. So,
Yeah, fair enough.
but Grobulus did have a competition, a transmog competition, so I thought that was pretty cool, and I know that's like where my alley is right now. So I didn't end up
Did
seeing
you
who the
compete
winner
in it?
was, but no, I was just following it
Oh, okay.
on the Discord and stuff. I think I was away. I wasn't there at the time of when it happened, so I
Oh,
would have been
okay.
if I was around.
Hmm. All right. So nothing you won't plug then. It sounds
No
like
plug, no
still
plug. I
working
want to
on
plug
the.
Subtle FW. That's my Twitch actually, and my
Okay,
YouTube. You can
nice,
find me
nice.
there. Yeah, I don't know where you can find you, but that's where you can find me.
Yeah. I'll just piggyback onto that. Yeah, go support Hando on his channel Subtle FW, YouTube and Twitch. Does great work.
Yeah, thank you for the support. Thank you for the support. You'll see me in chat more, and sometimes I have a chair streaming for me, and then sometimes I've got
Hmm.
a handsome man streaming for me that's not me. But
Oh wow.
yeah, the
Is it
more often than not. But you'll see me on my stream every podcast. So
is that like a service you can pay people for? Like they just like sit there and pretend to be you like while you stream?
I'm sure, absolutely, it's got to be.
That's got to be a service, right?
It's got to be. I'm sure it's pricey, but I'm sure it's there. I'm
Yeah.
sure it
We
exists.
we got to look into this
Yeah.
for next time.
I mean, I miss chair stream. We had a couple chair streams back in the
Mhm.
day. If any of the OGs remember,
Yeah.
that was a good one.
Yeah, I think I got to add that to the champ points.
You got to do it. The Uther Bucks need to come through.
Mhm.
Well,
Exactly.
go check out the channel. Go check out the Twitch. You can see what the heck we're talking about. If you want to be part of these inside jokes, he's got a great following. We've got many different content creators that we follow, like we talked about Rihanna too, right? And I'm sure we'll have some more guests on here shortly that you guys can check out. But I've had a blast tonight, and as always, so
Yeah, always a
thank you
good
guys.
time. Was fun talking all the WoW news tonight. We had some good stuff. But we will see you guys all next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, whatever you decide to do. And we will see you next